a woman you want our black women to emulate? A woman who is telling our young black men that when another man approaches you sexually, lay there and let him get it? See, they're not telling you these kind of things. They want to make you think that Isis was just this beautiful and wise goddess. No, Isis is telling her own son to let another man get him in the butt. That's what she's doing. But look,
What is the number one thing that we do before we leave the cult? Wrong. You're getting ready to leave a cult. You realize you're a part of a cult. The cult is no good. The cult is bad. It's time for me to leave. But there's one thing that we do wrong when we're ready to leave a cult. And that's what we're going to get into it today. First up, let's play the video of a woman who was a part of a cult and ended up leaving the cult, which was great, just to be a part of another cult that was actually worse than the first.
And you found out it wasn't really what it was supposed to be.
It was all a great big lie. And when I found that out, I was like, yo, I gotta rearrange some stuff. I gotta get down to the core of who I really am. Just sitting there being a Hebrew was not good enough for a goddess like myself.
Right.
So I kicked it to the curb. I moved on and accepted myself for who I am, which is a goddess, a black queen.
Now, did you have problems with the teachings of Hebrew Israelite, especially the way the teachers when it comes to women? What do you think about that?
Absolutely, I had a problem with the teachings that these Hebrew Israelites come with, because anytime you want to suppress the divine feminine aspect of God, you're going to have some very serious problems. You cannot downplay the equal half of the masculine side of God. And that's what the Hebrew Israelites, having no metaphysical understanding of who the woman is and what her true role is, which is equality to the divine, to God, the divine masculine. If she cannot be in the place of equal.
So right there, you see, we're not going to get into everything that she said. She said a lot of things that are really backwards. We're not going to get into that. But what I want you to focus on is, one, she noticed she's a part of something that isn't good. So she's stepping away from it. But the second thing you need to notice is the person who's interviewing her is Sonetta TV, which is a big figure in the Egyptology community among so many other people. So he's recording her explaining why the Hebrew Israelites is not a good place to be a part of, which I can tell you a lot of false teaching among them. And to a degree, yes, they are a cult. But she did something wrong. What she didn't do was she didn't self-evaluate. She didn't look at herself and ask herself, what is it that I'm doing or searching for that has led me to be a part of something so egregious? And I know you're probably saying, how is Hebrew Israelites egregious? Well, we're going to get into some of the things that they teach and some of the things that they do. And you're going to hear from a Hebrew Israelite's mouth.
Hey, man. So, but the first question that I do want to pose right now is, and whoever wants to take it first can take it, man. Is Hebrew Israelite a cult?
I would say that Hebrew Israelite is not a cult, but there are cults amongst the Hebrew Israelite community for sure. It's really kind of like an overarching ideology, and there's various different variations, beliefs, nuances to each, but there are definitely a lot of cults amongst the Israelite community for 1,000%.
Sure.
All religions are cults.
Okay.
They're all focused on a central figure. So if Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior,
Yeah.
and you get up every Sunday to go shake your ass in the church for him,
Yeah.
you're in a cult, because there's a central figure, and that figure is emphasized as the end all be all of all knowledge.
So you heard him say himself that among the Hebrew Israelites, yes, there are cults. So there shouldn't be any debate that you're hearing it from a Hebrew Israelite mouth himself that, yeah, among us, yeah, there are cults. So she's a part of a cult. She realized she shouldn't be a part of that cult. She realized it's bad, and she's like, I got to go. So one of the things that the Hebrew Israelites teach that should have been a clear sign for her to see that, wait a minute, I shouldn't be a part of this. And I'm going to play it for you right now so you can see.
I've heard a few people say the white man is the devil. Is that something that the Hebrew Israelites still stand by?
You know, well, some Israelites do, some don't. You know, again, when people,
How about
you?
you? What do you believe?
People like to blanket Israelites, but it's different. I emphatically believe the white man is a devil. For sure.
Why?
Come on, man.
Well, we just
That's
take a
what
look
I'm
at what he's
saying.
done in the earth.
Okay.
Bro, the white man is an Edomite. The Bible say that the Edomite is your brother. So if he a devil, you a devil too. Oh, do you need the scripture for that? Deuteronomy 23:7.
Wait. Sorry. Why do you believe the white man's the devil?
Because of what he's done the last 500 years.
Go.
Okay.
Let's just take a look at his actions, his deeds in the earth the last 500 years. So it's been a collective effort to destroy the planet and the people, the inhabitants thereof, the animals, everything. So that's why, for sure.
Oh wait, I bet.
Okay, so you see right there, he's saying, yeah, the white man is the devil. Now, there's a lot of different problems with what he's saying about, the white man being the devil. The problem with that, he believes the same Bible that we believe, right? And if any of us read the Bible, you know that all men are evil and all of us need God. If you look at Genesis chapter 6, verse 5, it says, every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil. So I don't know why he's pretending like it's only the white people that are doing evil things. Yes, if you look culturally at their history, you'll see that they've done quite egregious things. But so have African people. Other races have done a lot of wicked and evil things among this world. All of us need God. Psalm chapter 14, verse 3. They have all gone aside. There is none that doeth good. No, not one. No, not one. This world is wicked and full of evil people of all race, all genders, and all ages. And if you look now at the world, the freaking ages seem to be getting younger. The kids seem to be getting worse and worse the older that they get. So the idea that, oh my goodness, they're evil because they're white, so they're a devil, that itself should have shown her that I don't need to be a part of this. But for some reason, that wasn't enough for her, right? So what I really think it was, what they teach regarding women in the Hebrew Israelites and how they treat the women. I'm going to show you a testimony from a former Hebrew Israelite. And this is like actually a soft example of some of the horrible stories that women come out and say has happened to them while being a part of these camps. And I think this is why she really stepped away, because you heard she said, I am a black queen. I am a goddess. You don't get that type of energy from the Hebrew Israelites, but you do get it from Egyptology. So I believe that she is searching for some type of self-love and self-worth. And remember what I said, the one thing you have to do when you're leaving a cult, you have to self-examine. You have to see, what am I doing? What am I searching for that's causing me to be part of a cult in the first place? Because if you don't do that, you're just going to end up cult hopping, going from one cult to another. And the next one may actually be worse than the first
only
one.
teenage girl of my age, so I just kept it myself. And I remember this man came up to me, sat down next to me, and started just talking to me like, hey, how are you? Like, chatting me up. And I'm like, I look everywhere. I'm like, is there an adult here who can help me? Because does he not know how young I am? Not old, how young I am, and I am still in high school? What is going on? And I'm thinking at that time, maybe the men didn't see, but I was like, no, I think y'all did. Maybe y'all didn't care. I don't know. But I felt that was the first time I had ever actually felt unsafe in Hebrew Israelite spaces. I knew that there was going to be a time where I was going to be asked, especially with how I presented. If I presented as the word is always humble. I think that's what, I can't stand that word to this day. A humble, meek, woman who always wore her scarves, who always, dressed conservatively, I would have been expected to be married. And that's something that we don't talk about, is some communities do practice or try to practice arranged marriages, because that almost happened to me, and it almost happened to my friend as well. But I knew that was gonna come. Like, sometimes I would go to New York and they would say, "Oh my God, you're getting older. You're getting so like you're so beautiful. You know my son?" No, I don't. I don't want to know your son. But in that situation, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, can anybody come and help me? I don't know how to handle myself. I don't know what's going on. Like, I just want this man out of my face. I get this on the streets. I was hoping I wouldn't get this inside of a temple.
So you see right there, this young lady is sharing her experiences in the Hebrew Israelite spaces, how she felt unsafe, how men was basically throwing themselves at her, how men was trying to arrange her to be in relationships or get married and things like that. And even the word humble bothers her, which is weird. Humble shouldn't bother you. Being humble, it's nothing wrong, but it bothers her because you feel suppressed in those spaces as a woman. You feel like they're suppressing you. They're forcing upon you humbleness, meekness. Don't speak, don't teach, don't this, don't that. Wear your long skirts, cover your head. Like I'm going to tell you who you're going to marry, when you're going to marry. I'm just going to come up and talk to you and make you feel uncomfortable and there's nothing you could do about it. Like, this is the type of energy that was being given to these women in these particular camps. And I believe that this woman was experiencing the same thing. And for her, she was like, I can't do it. This ain't for me. I'm a goddess. I'm a queen. And when you're hearing in Egyptology, people don't know about it. Go over Sonetta TV. He got it all over there. They're freaking the black woman's queen. The black woman is a goddess, and they praise these women. And when you're hearing these things and you're in a situation where you feel suppressed and oppressed, which they probably are most likely, this sounds enticing. This sounds good. So if you don't self-evaluate and say, wait a minute, how did I even get in here? How did I get here? These people saying white man's the devil. That wasn't enough for me to see that I shouldn't be a part of this. But why am I here? You don't self-evaluate why you're there in the first place. All you're going to do is coat hop. So now she done hop from one coat to another coat. So and that's what we're going to get into now. We're going to actually show you this coat and some of the teachings that they teach. And as a woman, when you look at some of the things that's going to be said, you would think like, why would she want to even be a part of something like this? But let's get into it so you guys can see what I'm basically talking about.
Ancient Egyptians didn't promote homosexuality. But what's even more interesting is the fact that Sonetta admitted that he had never even heard this story before until the black Hebrews brought it out. Take a look at this clip.
Have you ever heard of him saying that he ejaculated himself and bust off on the header letters and he ate the letters?
That's in the contingent of her.
What the hell is all this stuff about, man? I mean, you gotta understand.
Why?
Let me ask you a question. Hold on, brother. I want to find out because, see, the Hebrews, if we didn't have these.
I don't know if y'all heard what he said. In the readings and the teachings that they have, dude bust off. And then it was on a head of lettuce. And dude's uncle ate the lettuce. Like, this is crazy.
Debates. I wouldn't have known that about this. 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 That's why. Hold on. One second. Hold on. Let me finish. Because were they hiding? Were they dealing with homosexuality in ancient Egypt, brother?
When you say dealing with it, hold on, stop. Can I answer that? Because
I'm the one over there. Look how y'all get.
Put the camera over here. Hold on 1 second. Bro, it was only a
Dude, they getting worked up, bro.
All right, stop, man. I already know that. Stop for a second. Here's the deal. The point I'm making is this, and I don't think you have to ask the same question over and over again to get the same answer over and over again. Number one, none of us are hiding anything, and I'll tell you why. Because anytime you've asked a question about homosexuality in ancient Egypt, we answered it within the context that it needs to be answered.
Now, there are things that stand out with Sonetta's statement.
Sure enough is.
Notice he said that he had never heard the story.
He did. He said
of
that.
Isis spreading Horus's semen on Seth's lettuce and Seth eating the lettuce. Now that's bad because Sonetta is surrounded by all kinds of brothers who represent ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet. So how is it that he's surrounded by brothers like Polite, Brother Reggie, Shaka Amos, Cyrus Sutinseti? How is it he's surrounded by all these so-called eminent scholars of Kemet, and he's never heard the story of Seth ingesting Horus's semen?
That's wild.
I'll tell you why. That's the kind of stuff they don't want you to know. Because if they start reading stuff like this to you, then you will know that Egypt promoted homosexuality.
Now, this is important. First, before we get into the rest of the videos, the brother that y'all heard talking in that clip that you just watched, I showed the name on it, Absolute Bible Truth Ministry by Brother Josh. Great teacher. Got a lot of great content out there on YouTube. Go check him out. He's also on Facebook as well. He did a great documentary. That's a piece of the documentary that he did. Is there a gay agenda among Kemet? I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure, but you see the clip. It's on there. So y'all go definitely check it out. Now, if you have kids or teens in the room or listening to this, y'all just move them out now, because the rest of the clips that we're going to play, it's a little graphic. And I don't want your children or your young teens to hear anything that may be considered inappropriate. Now, this woman left one cult that is saying the white man's a devil and that women need to be humble, meek, and cover up and be quiet. Now, I don't disagree with some of the things they're saying that women should be doing, but what I would say is that the idea that the white man is a devil is bad, and the idea that women are feeling so uncomfortable that these grown big men are lusting over them is also bad. But now we're going to get into a story of the teachings of Egyptology, and you're going to see how disgusting it is. And this is why I gave a warning about what we're about to get into, because the brother that's breaking this down, Brother Josh, he ain't playing. He's very blunt when he breaks this stuff down.
I'm going to show you that the homosexual sex between Horus and Seth was consensual. And these writings were written principally during the Middle Kingdom. So let's see what it says about Horus and Seth. Take a look at this story right here. This is from the Hieratic Papyri from Kahan and Garab. The majesty of Seth said to the majesty of Horus, "How beautiful are thy buttocks, how flourishing." Notice that this particular version of the story starts out with Seth complimenting Horus on having a nice behind. Is this not homosexual? Is this not gay?
It's gay.
But the point of me taking you here is to show you that in this version of the story, the sex was consensual. Now, listen to this. And where you see the 3 dots, that lets you know that this is where the text was damaged and they don't know what was right there. But enough of it was preserved for you to see that this was a gay conversation and it was consensual sex. So now let's continue. The majesty of Horus said, "Wait, that I may tell it to their palace." The majesty of Horus said to his mother Isis, "Seth desires to have intercourse with me." See, in this version of the story, Seth did not trick Horus over to his house and then try to rape him in his sleep. In this version of the story, Seth approaches Horus openly, trying to seduce him with sweet talk. But let's continue. And she said to him, Isis talking to Horus, "Take care. Do not approach him for that." In other words, don't approach him for sexual intercourse. This is what Isis is telling Horus. But listen, when he mentions it to thee a second time, say thou to him, "It is altogether too difficult for me because of my nature, since thou art too heavy for me. My strength will not be equal to thine." Notice that Isis is not telling her son Horus to go back and tell Seth homosexuality is wrong, being gay is evil. That's not what Isis is telling Horus to tell Seth.
Nope.
She's telling Horus to tell Seth, "I won't be able to handle you. I
too
won't
big.
be able to take it."
That's
but watch
crazy.
what she says. "Since thou art
His
too
own mother.
heavy for me, my strength will not be equal to thine. Thou shalt say to him." That's what she told Horus to tell Seth. But listen to this. "Then when he shall have given thee strength, do thou place thy fingers between thy buttocks." So Isis is telling Horus, let Seth have anal sex with you. let Seth
Crazy.
get you in the behind.
It's wild.
Is this the type of mother the
No.
conscious community is trying to tell our black women to emulate? You know, Polite is always saying the black woman is God. Sarah Sutton Seti is always saying the black woman is God. And they mention ISIS on a number of occasions. So you're trying to tell me this is the type of woman you want our black women to emulate? A woman who is telling our young black men that when another man approaches you sexually, lay there and let him get it? See, they're not telling you these kind of things. They want to make you think that Isis was just this beautiful and wise goddess. No, Isis is telling her own son to let another man get him in the butt. That's what she's doing. But look what else it says. Lo, it will give. Lo, he will enjoy it exceedingly.
This is crazy.
Isis is telling Horus not only to let Seth have anal sex with you, but also that Seth will enjoy it exceedingly, meaning a lot. It's going to be very pleasurable to him. See, these are the type of things that they are hiding from you. They're not telling you that Horus was a consenting homosexual. They're not.
So y'all see, she went from one cult, which we already went over, the Hebrew Israelites and the teachings that are bad, and she just cult hopped to another cult where her own people, they saying black woman is the queen, a goddess. Praise them. But this black queen, this black goddess is telling her own son what to do before his uncle grapes him. When his uncle, which we see that he didn't get graped, it was consensual, but just the idea that the uncle is going to try and sleep with his nephew, you think the mother would be like, yo, what is wrong with you? No, she's telling him what to do and how good it's going to be. This is sick, but this is what she's a part of now because she didn't self-evaluate. She didn't look at herself.
Contendings of Horus and Seth, and pick it up right where we left off, which is after Isis restored Horus's hands when she cut him off. Now pay close attention to this story because it's going to show you the attitude the Egyptians had towards homosexuality. Did they condemn it in general, or did they just have a problem with passive homosexual men? See, this is what they're not telling you. They're not making this distinction. They're not even investigating it. They're just trying to make you think that the Egyptians were anti-homosexual. That is not true. Look what it says. Then she fetched some fragrant ointment and applied it to Horus's phallus. This is his own mother, Isis. Keep this in mind.
Sick, bro.
Why? Because
Get the kids out of the room.
Sadie and Polite are always trying to tell people that the black woman is God, and they pull out all these Egyptian goddesses and they mention Isis. So they use Isis as a sort of example for black women to follow. But look what she's doing here. It says she took some fragrant ointment and applied it to Horus's phallus. She's lubing up Horus's penis. That's what she's doing. Look what it says. She caused it to become stiff and inserted it into a pot, and he caused his semen to flow down into it. Now, have you ever heard Sadie mention this? What about
That's
Shaka
sick.
Amos? What about Polite? Forget them. What about Dr. Clark? What about Dr. Ben? What about Ashra Kwesi? What about them? Have they ever told you that Horus's
Nope.
own mother
I ain't never heard
masturbated
this.
him? Gave him a hand job?
This is
Is this
sick.
the type of example you want our black women to
No.
follow? Like? What about you, Sadie? See, they're not telling you this. This is perverted. This man's own mother is masturbating him. Are you trying to tell us you would let your own mothers do that to you? It also tells you she caused his semen to flow down into a pot. He ejaculated.
Oh,
That's
Lord.
sick, sisters and brothers, that a
is.
man's own mother would do that to him.
It is.
But this is the culture they're trying to get us to, quote unquote, return to. They're hiding this information from you. They've never walked anybody all the way through this story. They just mention it here and there out of necessity or when backed into a corner by a Hebrew Israelite. But they never investigate the whole story and walk you all the way through it. We're going to do that in this video so you can see what they've been hiding from you. But look what else it says. Isis at morning time went carrying the semen of Horus to the garden of Seth and said to Seth's gardener, "What sort of vegetable is it that Seth eats here in your company?" So the gardener told her, "He doesn't eat any vegetable here in my company except lettuce." So she's asking Seth's gardener, what kind of vegetables does he eat? And the gardener told her he only eats lettuce.
It's about
Listen
to get
this.
nasty, y'all.
And Isis added the semen of Horus
Oh my
unto
goodness.
it. So look what you're reading here.
This shit is
First,
wild.
Isis masturbates her own
Oh my
son,
goodness.
gives her own son a hand job all the way to the point of climax. Then she takes the semen and applies it to Seth's favorite food, lettuce. This is one of the reasons lettuce was considered an aphrodisiac in ancient Egypt. But let's continue. Seth returned according to his daily habit and ate the lettuce which he regularly ate. Thereupon he became pregnant with the semen of Horus. Wait a minute, this is gross, homosexual, and perverted for all kinds of reasons.
It is.
First of all, keep in mind that Isis is the sister of Seth.
Yes.
So rather than confronting Seth about raping her son
Oh.
Horus, which I'm pretty sure any enraged mother would do, she instead masturbates her own son to the point of climax and then takes his semen and spreads it on her own brother's favorite food, lettuce, tricking him into eating the semen of Horus. Has Cyrus Susan said he ever told you this? But this is ancient
No.
Kemet. This is Nile Valley.
Y'all heard it, right? Oh, that was hard. Oh, but that's what I'm talking about. This woman literally went from one cult to another cult just to end up in something even freaking worse. It's so disgusting. But what I was trying to get you guys to see, that it's important that we self-evaluate, because if we don't self-evaluate, we are going to end up in the same situation this lady's in. She went from one cult that was bad to another cult that's even freaking worse and disgusting. Psalms chapter 119 verse 59 says, "I thought on my ways and turned my feet unto thy testimony." Evaluate yourself. What is causing you to worship these men, to believe what these people are telling you, to where you are among something so disgusting? What is causing you? Are you so fed into feeding your own ego and your own desires that you are freaking a part of something as disgusting as this? Because that's what she's a part of now. And she sound like she's so free. Oh no, I did. You sound like a fool. With that being said, if you don't want to be cult hopping and you don't want to be a part of something so disgusting and egregious as we just listened to and witnessed, then it's very important that you self-evaluate what you're a part of and why you're a part of it, because you don't want to end up like this young lady. Till then, y'all take care.